So you're here because you're interested in World of Warcraft, and if it's going to be the game for you. It's been around for a while, you've probably heard of it. You could think it's too overwhelming to start playing now. It's a 15-year-old game. Well, you've come to the right place, and I'm going to make sure we get rid of the overwhelming feeling that you have trying to get into this, and grow your interest, and get you started in on your level 20 free trial. Let's get into it. Hey guys, so one little thing I want to mention here is that this video is going to be for like absolute beginners. Not people who are already playing the game, but people who might be curious about it or have watched a friend play it and didn't really understand what was going on, but were curious about it the whole time. If you guys can do me a favor and make sure to like the video, subscribe, and hit the bell icon there. That way you'll know when I post a new video and when I go live. I usually try to use the YouTube scheduler, so if you follow me and you hit that bell icon, it'll actually give you a notification to let you know when I'm going live. So first of all, throughout the video, I'm just going to tell you that I'll be calling World of Warcraft WoW. For any new player, that's kind of just what everyone has called the game over the years. You'll just heard the term WoW, and everyone generally is going to refer to the game. As well, one thing I want to mention here, just because WoW is a 15-year-old game does not actually mean you have to play 15 years worth of content just to catch up to your friends, relatives, co-workers, or anybody who you want to play with, or just if you want to play. With the recent announcement of the 8th expansion now for WoW being Shadowlands, you will not need to complete every expansion, like I mentioned, just to catch up to that expansion. And I'll do a little recap here in just 2 seconds. Well, for you guys, it'll be nothing. Okay, so for all you new players, World of Warcraft here. This one here was the very first game. This is what people refer to as vanilla. So this was no expansions. This was the original game released in 2004. The first expansion that came out, The Burning Crusade, this one released in 2007. Wrath of the Lich King, this released in 2008. Cataclysm, released in 2010. Mists of Pandaria, this one released in 2012. Warlords of Draenor, considered one of the worst expansions in the history of the game, released in 2014. Legion, released in 2016. Battle for Azeroth, which is, as of recording this video, is the current content that you can do, released 2018. And I'm recording this October 24th, and there's still no launch date for Shadowlands. It was supposed to be around the end of this month, but it's postponed. But it's supposed to be released in 2020 still. That could change, but as of right now, it's still 2020. Okay, so now that I remember all the money that I've spent on this game, we have an idea on the WoW timeline and all the expansions that came out. With Shadowlands being the next expansion, the developers at Blizzard who made WoW released a huge update before Shadowlands actually comes out. And this is a normal thing that happens before any expansion comes out, is an event or a pre-patch happens with all the changes that are supposed to happen so people can get used to it before they explore all the new areas. This update squishes the old maximum level, which was 120, down to 50. So all the levels that me and veteran players have played, or sorry, slowly grinded over the years, they're all gone. And the maximum level until Shadowlands is released will be 50. As you can see right here, Battle for Azeroth level was 120. The Shadowlands level is 50. And then it shows here the different levels as you go down. So these from 60 to 63 would be actually level 25, and there's a huge chart here to give you an idea, which is okay. We don't need to go through this now. This is more so for existing players to see where their level would have gone. So if you're new, you won't have a ridiculous amount of levels to grind out before getting to play the maximum level. Whereas before, to get to level 120 took quite a bit of time for a new player, as there were so many things nobody really knew how to do. The time required to get to the maximum level is significantly reduced. Most people say to get from level 1 to 50 takes around 12 to 24 hours, which can also change depending on what you're actually spending your time on. A new level 1 to 10 leveling zone has started, and this is what we call Exile's Reach. So this is to pretty much teach new players how to play. So as you can see here, Exile's Reach is an all-new starting experience that will take you on an excursion to a faraway island and introduce you to the fundamentals of playing World of Warcraft and your chosen class. If you're new to World of Warcraft and have never created or leveled a character, you will automatically begin your journey into Azeroth with the starting experience. If you're a veteran player or you've leveled a character before, you can choose to opt out. Obviously, I expect most people to have never played, so the option there where you're forced to go into this is pretty good, because this will work out for a lot of you. When it comes to new players, this part here, if you're new to World of Warcraft and have never created or leveled a character, you will automatically begin your journey into Azeroth with the starting experience being Exile's Reach, helping you learn the basics of your class and the fundamentals of interacting with the world. Now, this part here, after completing the adventure, you'll move into Battle for Azeroth, which is the most current expansion, where you'll be able to level through the expansion to level 50 before moving into the Shadowlands. So this is what I was talking about before. You do not have to do 15 years worth of content in order to join everybody else in the current expansion. So it'll take about 12 to 24 hours to get to level 50 if Shadowlands is out at this point. And then what will happen is once you get to level 50, eventually you'll receive your quest to then go straight to all the things that lead towards heading to the Shadowlands. Anyone who, I guess, hasn't played this style of game, once you level and you get to the maximum level, with this type of game, it's considered where the game starts. You have a little journey while you're leveling, and that's kind of, you know, the fun little quirks of it. You get to explore the world, understand the stories, and introduce to characters. But when you get to the maximum level, that's where World of Warcraft starts. In-game meaning the latest content, getting to max level, because WoW, that's just how it works. Alright, cool. So we just did a super quick recap on the amount of expansions, levels, how you don't need to consume 15 years of content just to catch up. WoW has a free trial. You can get up to level 20, you don't have to pay a penny. You just create your account, you download WoW, create your account, and you can level as many characters you want up to level 20. Doesn't matter the faction, you can do whatever you want. As you can see here, what is World of Warcraft? It goes through all this new learning experience, talks about Exile's Reach, talks about the two factions, which are Horde and Alliance. As you can see here, the Horde fights for honor and freedom, surviving in a world that questions their unity and strength. And then the Alliance fights for justice and duty, fervently devoted to those who fight under their banner. This is kind of a personal preference, but a long-standing thing in the game here is going to be for the Horde, for the Alliance, and it's just kind of aesthetically which one you like, and as you play the game more, you'll understand the story and the characters, and might end up switching to the story you like best. So for the free trial, play the starting adventure at Exile's Reach, experience multiple classes and races, and again, up to level 20, and then all you need to do is subscribe to the game to play the latest content, and in order to play Shadowlands, you'll obviously have to purchase it. You have the game installed, you set up your account, you're ready to start your 120 experience. Now what? Well, you choose your faction, and World of Warcraft, like I mentioned, has two, Alliance and Horde. So for new players, it's going to mean next to nothing. It's more so if you want to be a Night Elf, which is going to be on the Alliance side, or if you want to be a Tauren. This is going to be personal preference. Unless you have friends and family that play and you want to play with them, then you would pick their faction. When it comes to this, regardless, the Alliance and Horde cannot talk to each other. You can't group with each other. You can't trade with each other. These two factions are designed to be at war. So you cannot interact. If I make a Night Elf, I can't talk to a Troll. So any of these races on the left here under Alliance cannot speak and do anything with these here. You can choose your gender. Doesn't change what happens with these. And your classes here on the bottom. I'll just briefly go through this here. On the Alliance, you're going to have Human, Dwarf, Night Elf, Gnome, Draenei, Worgen, Pandaren, Void Elf, Light Forged Draenei, Dark Iron Dwarf, Coltiran, Mechanome, and that's it. On the Horde side, you're going to have an Orc, Undead, or sorry, yes, Undead, I thought I clicked the wrong one, Tauren, Troll, Blood Elf, Goblin, Pandaren, this is the only race that is on both sides, Nightborn, High Mountain Tauren, Magar Orc, Zandalari Troll, and Vulpera. Now, with these ones here, these are what we call, I actually forgot for 2 seconds, allied races. That was embarrassing. So these are allied races. These were added recently. What these are is you have to unlock these in the game. There are tasks you have to complete. You will not have these as a new player. When it comes to the class, or sorry, your race, let's just say, I don't know, for this one I'm going to go with Mechanome. So these are the classes. As you see, if I start clicking these on the bottom here, the classes change. It's because certain races can only be certain classes. So I'm going to pick a Mechanome regardless. So if I want to take a look here, it'll give you the roles that are listed. So warriors can do tank and melee damage. Hunters do ranged or melee. Mage obviously is ranged. Rogue is melee. Priest is healer and ranged. Warlock is ranged damage. Paladin is tank, healer, and melee. Druid can tank, heal, ranged, and melee, and so on and so on. Shaman can do healer, ranged, and melee. Monk can do tank, healer, or melee. Demon Hunter can do tank or melee. Death Knight can do tank or melee. Now, in games like WoW, there's a term tossed around called the Holy Trinity. What this means is the 3 roles that are mentioned. So there's tank, healer, and damage dealers. Those are the 3 main roles. Every single class in the game has 3 specs in order to do these things. So specs are the roles that you pick. The only exception here is going to be Demon Hunter, which only has 2. You can only choose 2 options, which will be tank and melee damage. And the Druid here has 4. So that's where you can do tank, healer, ranged, or melee. All the other ones here, even though this just says ranged damage for a Warlock, you still have 3 options. Same thing for all these other classes. So Druid, Demon Hunter are the exception here. You've picked your race, you've picked your class. For this I'll just choose Warrior. We're finished. So we have our character. So what do people even do in the game? Well, because I don't want to go through the level, I'm going to pick my Druid real quick. What do people even do in WoW? Well, even though I said you don't have to consume 15 years of content, you still have the option to do 15 years of content if you want. So, the main two things players do in WoW are what we call player versus environment, which for the most part is just you fighting the creatures around the world. So this is pretty much what you would consider in most games is you're just fighting everything. So anything that you see here that's computer controlled, or would be an NPC or dungeon monster, stuff like that, that's what we consider PvE. Or if you go to any of the dungeons here, any of these, everything here, this would be considered PvE. The things people generally do, though, when it comes to PvE, are going to be dungeons. That's 5 players, and these have 3 difficulties once you hit the maximum level. The 3 difficulties being normal, heroic, and mythic. Once you do mythic, you have the option to actually do what's called Mythic Plus, which has up to 15 levels, and there's a lot more to that than we need to go into in this guide. The next main PvE content people do are what's called raids. So because of the level that I currently am in this expansion, Warlords of Draenor, these are the raids that I'm going to see. Now, when it comes to raids and raiding, raids are designed to have a minimum of 10 players. So you can have tanks, damage dealers, healers. You get them all together and you fight all these bosses to get all the sweet loot that everyone's going to drop here. And you can go up to, I think the maximum now is 20 players. So you would need at least 10, and you can go up to 20. The player count for raiding, the difficulties for raiding, they're going to be 4. The first one is going to be called Raid Finder. Raid Finder is considered easy. You basically would just go down here to the group finder. You would click the raid here and you would do find raid. As I can do find group here, it would be when this is here. I'm not maximum level, so I cannot click it. The next one up would be normal, then heroic, and mythic being the hardest. There are minor things throughout the game designed for PvE, but I don't want to overwhelm you guys with a million different things, so these are just the basics of what you can do. So for PvP, you have World PvP, so if you have it activated, which I do not, you'll have this entire world map. So I'm just in this one little zone. There's this entire map. There's also all the different expansions. So this was Kalimdor and Eastern Kingdoms was the regular stuff, but each expansion added more zones, more places, as you can see here. It just keeps going. But open world PvP is, if you're out here questing and you have PvP activated, it's just, you're just attacking each other. Sometimes it's fun, sometimes it's really annoying because they can keep killing you over and over and griefing you. In terms of what else you can do, PvP has what we call Battlegrounds. So Battlegrounds here, as you can see, there is quite a few of them. A lot have been put out through the years, and each of them have different stuff. So Warsong Gulch, as you can see here, is Capture the Flag variant, which is 10 versus 10. Defend your flag, capture the enemy flag, most recent capture wins. You still have to capture more, obviously, but you can sometimes cheese this. Arathi Basin is 15 versus 15, where you hold objectives. Alturic Valley is a 40 versus 40 version. This one is a lot more complicated. I have the Storm 15 versus 15, and as you see, it just keeps going down. All the different versions. And then you have the option to do random. You can do an epic one, which is specifically the 40-player ones if you want. And then you have the option to do arenas if you want. This is another PvP thing. So there are people who only focus on this version of PvP. So as you see, there's 2 versus 2, 3 versus 3. I believe 5 versus 5 was taken out of the game. I could be wrong on that. But as you can see, the last team standing wins. And this one here, there are lots of strategies behind this. People spend a lot of time with just arenas themselves. So again, there are minor options for PvP outside of these things, but we don't really need to go into those, as again, we just need to talk about the basics so you can get an idea of the game. So in order to do any of the things of PvP or PvP that I mentioned, what you're going to want to be doing is at the start, if you don't know anybody, is using the group finder. So dungeons and raids here, when you're starting, you can only use dungeons. So for me, for example, right now it's a Halloween event, so there's going to be a Headless Horseman thing here we can sign up for. It's a little bit of fun. They have little events for different seasons. But let's say you want to do a specific dungeon. So because of the area I'm currently leveling in, which is Warlords of Draenor, you can choose a specific dungeon if you want and do find a group, which will put you in the group finder here over on the side. It'll take a little bit to get the time in queue and the rough estimate on when the queue is going to pop. I'm going to leave this now. We're going to cancel this, and we can do a random one, which will actually give you more experience and gold, and you choose your rolls up here on the top. Because I am doing damage, I'm going to click the damage roll. I cannot click tank. If I was to click tank and I went into the game or the dungeon, everyone would be kind of screwed because I wouldn't be able to do any of that. If you know much of it, you can click the leader here. So this normally is usually just something you would need near the beginning. A lot of these dungeons have been out for quite some time, to the point where nobody really needs to be the leader. So I just click this because I don't know if it makes it any quicker. But for the most part, I'll click random. It'll put us in queue. So right now, average wait time is about 13 minutes. Now, same thing for PvP. I'm just going to leave queue for this. So let's say I want to do a random battleground. Same thing, you would choose your role. Again, I'm going to be damage. Now, if you have several specs from playing for quite some time and you want to do any of these, then you can choose all three. There's no problem with that. You would just have to switch before the game started. So as you can see, random battleground, average wait time 6 minutes. So we're going to leave the queue for that one as well. Now, if you're somebody who is currently a console gamer and you've enjoyed achievements or trophies and that's your thing, World of Warcraft also has that. So as you can see here on the current character, I don't know if this is all of them, but to give you an idea, these are all the different types of achievements you can get throughout the game. So if I was the summary here is just the last couple achievements, and then there's character specific ones, quests, and these are all the different expansions throughout the history of the game. So for example, these are all the different achievements, and then some of these, if you open them up, they have even more achievements, and it goes on and on. There's quite a lot, and then these are all the PvP ones. These alone here will take you a long time. Now let's go back to the summary. So as you can see here, the achievements themselves, there's about 3,819. That's a lot of achievements. I don't personally try and gather a ton of them, but as you can see, I mean, I've been playing since the game started, and I don't even have half of them right now. So another option that people like to do is just collect appearances. There are people in the game who enjoy doing this, and it can take a while because the chance for items to drop can be quite long sometimes. So as you can see right here, so we're going to click on this guy. I want to transmogrify my gear. So you can choose every piece. So if I have a certain look that I want, so for example, because it's Halloween, I can choose the pumpkin. I want to change my shoulders. So this, you can change any piece of gear. to look how you want. So let's just say I want to do this, make them look awful right now. With transmogging, I can change any bit of the gear that I've collected over the years. This can be from any expansion that you visit. Even when you get the maximum level, you can go back and collect anything that you want. To give you an idea here, I'll just slowly flip through a few. So here's another one that I just threw together right quick for the video. As you can see, you can change. Alright, and as you can see here, just another simple one that I added. And this is more so, like, this is all personal preference things, just little neat ways for people to customize their characters. Now for a druid it's a little different because you have different forms that you would be in. But for other classes this wouldn't be normally happening. Another option too would be what we call pet battles. So pets you accumulate throughout the game, you can purchase them, you can find them in dungeons as drops, raids, you can trade them on the auction house. There's so many different ways to find them. The character, let's just do collected, and let's do check all. So as you can see here, I currently have 146 pets. I actually don't do pet battles, but this can be kind of compared to Pokemon. They all have different elements, different types they are, as you see here. There's humanoid, dragon, flying, undead, and they all have weaknesses and strengths, just like Pokemon or any game like that. Just so you can see here, passive, dragons deal 50% additional damage on the next round after bringing a target's health below 50%. So 50% extra damage from humanoid abilities, and then they actually take less damage from flying abilities. And if we were to check, let's just do Ashma Cub. So they actually take more damage from mechanical, and they take less damage from humanoid abilities. And as you level them up, you do fights, and when you get higher levels, you get these extra abilities. And this is part of the game that has an entire community, and I've personally been playing since the game launched, and I've actually never done any of this. So it gives you an idea on all the extra stuff you can do. Another thing that people like to do is mount farming. I actually don't know what the number of mounts are in the game. I don't have too many myself, but if I scroll down, I think there's probably around maybe 700 mounts or more. I could be off on that, but as you see, there's all different ones. This little guide here down in the collections tab, or Shift P, this will bring up all the little collections you can do. The mounts themselves, they come from so many different achievements, dungeons, raids, PvP, all sorts of different things you can do. And this again is another portion of the game that people like to collect in. All these gray ones here, these are ones that I have not collected myself. As you can see, there's quite a big variety. And this is through all the different expansions and styles and aesthetics over the years. And as you can see here, there's all these other collections. There's toys, which are just little things you can add in the game. They're just meant to be fun. Let's see if I can find one here. So if I was to use this, all it does is add this little mark on my head, and it's for about 5 minutes. If I was to do the blazing wings here, just gives me a little effect. Doesn't change the gameplay, it's all it is just an effect. I can do Bones of Transformation. As you can see, it's a little bugged out with the wings, so we'll turn that off. And the other one stays on top of it as well. And there's lots and lots. As you can see, there's 604. Heirlooms as well. These used to offer experience to help players level faster, but because of the new level cap, that's actually been removed, and the heirlooms now are just stronger gear that levels with your character and give you little set bonuses. These set bonuses, in my opinion, are not very good because you do level fairly quickly now. This more so just makes it so you don't have to worry about gear as you're leveling. Okay, so yeah, the professions. With any RPG, there'll be professions in them. WoW is no exception to this. So some of these aren't actually professions. So out of this entire list, flying and riding aren't professions. These are just something you end up purchasing as you level up to be able to move faster on your mount or fly. Now the achievement or the professions themselves are alchemy, archaeology, blacksmithing, cooking, enchanting, engineering, first aid, fishing, herbalism, inscription, jewel crafting, leatherworking, mining, skinning, and tailoring. Out of all of these, you can only pick 2. So if I want enchanting and engineering, I cannot pick herbalism or inscription. The exception to these are archaeology, cooking, fishing, and first aid. Any character can learn all of those, and then 2 professions. The reason being is that when you fish, you can use those fish to cook. So everybody's allowed to do that. Archaeology is just going around to dig sites and then digging up artifacts and things like that to find or create other things within the game. We don't need to go into detail with that at the moment. Alright guys, and that's just a little taste of how you can get into World of Warcraft, the introduction on the types of things you can do. I didn't go into detail on a lot of these because I just wanted you to get an idea on what you can do and just how much is available in the game and how you don't need to do absolutely everything, as I've played for a long time myself and obviously haven't done half the things that I showed in this video. Now, WoW has more depth as you keep playing, as again, the game does have 15 years of story development, events, memes, and just funny moments in general that have slowly happened over the years. And as you keep playing, you might want to go back and look at the older stuff, get a feel for the story, how the characters developed, and just get more involved. I will be making more videos in the future on beginner guides on where to go when you start playing, and I'll make some leveling guides as well, just on basically what the experience looks like. So if you're not even curious about downloading the game and giving it a shot, I will actually play from level 1 through the whole leveling experience with a random class, and you get to experience it with me. If you have any other questions, feel free to leave a comment down below. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe and hit that bell icon so you know when I upload a new video and when I go live. Alright guys, until next time.